Hello and welcome to your Manchester United preview coming up on Sunday. 2 p.m. kickoff, isn't it, Tom?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's an early one because Manchester United played in the Europa League midweek, coming off the back of a 5-0 victory against Club Brugge. That is their 7th game unbeaten, only conceded 1 in that time. The goal scorers against Bruges, Bruno Fernandes, Igalo, McTominay and Fred, a player I very much admired when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, scored a brace. Now, Tom, after watching that game, did not make me miss Europe, even if it is just the Europa League. It just proper got me in the mood to wanting to see Everton under the lights back in European competition. Obviously, Manchester United are one of those teams in firm contention for European. Actually, I think that the points difference isn't very much. They're in prime position. They're in 5th on 41 points. We are all the way down in 11th on 36 points. Europe, lad, do you think we're in with a shot or not?
Yeah, it's tight, isn't it? Like everyone's in with a shot, to be honest. Like from 5th to 15th or something mad like that. Like literally, it's so tight this year, and the standard of the Prem has changed so much this year that honestly, everyone's in with a shout. If we win 2 games in a row, suddenly we get ourselves up there into those European places. If we lose 2 games, we're down to 15th, 16th. Like it's very tight, and it's in our own hands. And obviously, this is a crucial period. Like it's beginning now. Obviously, we've already played Arsenal. Lost, we were a little bit unlucky, but this is another game in the start of that really difficult run of about 6 or 8 games we've got really against the top side. So really difficult run, but this is one that's quite promising. But yeah, if we could win this, it would get us up there towards Man U and then maybe jump towards those European places. But yeah, I have missed Europe as well. When you see teams who take Europe for granted as well, like Man United, I wouldn't say they take it for granted, but like the Europa League to them, it's nothing really. Like it's kind of just like it's Europe. It's second fiddle to the Champions League, obviously. But if a team like Everton, when they're in the Europa League, would save it every second of every game, and it's frustrating to watch teams kind of just treat it as like Europa League is starting the second striker kind of thing, whereas we would really take advantage of it. Didn't last time we were in it, but hopefully we would next time. But yeah, if we could get ourselves toward those European places, that would be made up.
I suppose so. I mean, you're the same age as me. I like growing up, I always viewed Everton as a European competing team, like a team that should always be competing in Europe. Like obviously, I think it was 04-05 when we finished 4th and got the Champions League denied, obviously by that baldy. Not going to say that. I'm not going to swear, but but we were just consistent in the Europa League. Obviously, just seemed year after year to qualify and be in the group stages. Obviously, there was that knockout against Fiorentina on penalties, and then I think after that, the closest that we got to any sort of substantial progress was when we got knocked out by Dynamo Kiev, almost by surprise. But yeah, as you say, mate, I'm just looking at that sort of gap of teams. I've looked down from 5th to 11th. Obviously, Man United 41 points, Spurs on 40 points, Sheffield United on 40 points, Wolves in 8th on 39 points, Arsenal in 9th in 37 points, Burnley are above us, which I think is a bit odd on 37 points. But like you say, it's almost like December. In December, we had a real sort of crucial succession of games against tough opposition, and towards the end, obviously Dunk took the reins and we come out well. But looking at it now, after Manchester United, we've got Chelsea, Liverpool, Norwich, which may be a banana skin, then Leicester, Tottenham, and Southampton, who I think are below us. So I agree in that 2 wins and everything is completely different. Then we're in with a we're in with a chance, but I have got my reservations about this Everton team. As we've seen today, Morgan Schneiderlin is out for this game after picking up a knock to his knee, which makes us even lighter in terms of the midfield options. coming into this game against United, Tom, what do you think the score is with who we can play on the field, and in particular that midfield situation?
It was a little bit concerning the last game, I thought, at midfield. I think they got, like, when I saw the lineup, I was kind of concerned that all of Delph, Sigurdsson and Schneiderlin were all playing together in the midfield, with Sigurdsson on the wing.
Yeah,
like,
out wide.
It hasn't worked before.
Yeah.
No, we've seen it not work, so why try it again? Like, but I suppose Ancelotti's not seen it not work, so I'll give it a go. But like, those three in midfield really worried me. But obviously Andre Gomez coming back in hopefully from the start at the weekend will make a difference, because he definitely did make a difference when he came in for that half an hour last week. So I think if he starts to run the shop a little bit in midfield, that really will make a difference for us. Who comes in alongside him? Obviously Schneiderlin loses place due to injury. So whether that'll just be a straight swap in the midfield or stay the same apart from that, will be interesting, because obviously Theo Walcott's back as well. So I don't know if he'll be in from the start, whether he'll come off the bench. But weirdly, I think we need him back. Like, as much as I've slated Theo Walcott during his time at Everton, I've missed him while he's been injured, because he really started to hit a decent run of form, and there's no other real right midfielder at the moment, since obviously Richarlison's moved up to a striker. Iwobi's more of a left midfielder. So is Bernard. So we don't really have a solid right midfielder to partner Sidibe. So I think I've missed Walcott, and hopefully he'll come back in at some point tomorrow. But yeah, it could be any combination of midfielders. You never know. With Ancelotti, he does keep you guessing.
Yeah, true. And I heard from his press conference today that I think he feels like Andre Gomez is ready to start and ready to step back in. Obviously, Gomez said he was a bit precautious about Arsenal, didn't want to, jump in with 2 feet and be in a starting position. And I suppose, I was going to say, as someone with past injury problems, but I don't even think you need to have a history of injury problems to understand them. His concerns going into, obviously a high profile game. After, I think it's miraculous enough that he's only been out for 3 months and all of a sudden he's back competing Premier League football. But I would absolutely love to see him back on that team sheet starting and just given that chance to control the game like he did, because against Arsenal, as you said, to be fair, he looked like he looked better than any other midfielder on the pitch. Just to focus a bit on Man United, obviously they've also got a Portuguese midfielder of their own that is pulling strings, it seems. Bruno Fernandes is obviously, they finally got it over the line. He's coming from Sporting Lisbon. 20 league goals last season and 32 in all competitions, which is a true outlier, isn't it, for a central midfielder, an attacking midfielder at that, to be turning in those sorts of statistics. No wonder he's caught the eye of Man United. Looking at his game individually from last night, he back from the penalty spot again. He completed 42 passes, 25 of those were in the final third. Completed 2 of his 3 tackles, and 4 of his 3 shots. 3 of his 4 shots, were on target. So he just seems like a really, efficient player that would seem to cause trouble no matter who he's coming up against. Where are your concerns when looking at this Man United side?
Exactly what you said. I think Bruno Fernandes, obviously, is the main worry. They were crying out for him. They were really desperate for someone to just come in and just grab that whole team, just pull them all together and actually make a difference. And to be fair, he's done that. There was a lot of expectation come on his shoulders as he came in. Obviously, there was a lot of hype around that move for a while. It finally got done, and then everyone was kind of jumping on his back you're the saviour, you're going to be the man to knit this all together. And to be fair, he's taken that really well, and he kind of has been. And he's when I've seen him, he's been really impressive. I've never seen someone come into a team with similar pressure like that, to be honest. But he's really taken it well. He's been a shining light. I did have some concerns about the move in the first place, to be honest, because obviously the Portuguese league isn't the best. I think most people have heard of about 3 teams from Portugal. So it's not the strongest league, but So obviously he's had impressive statistics over there. Whether he can come over and recreate that in the Premier League was a big ask, but he's doing so far. So obviously Bruno Fernandes will have to be looked after tomorrow. Shame we haven't got our man Idrissa Gueye anymore to man mark him, but I don't know how we're going to deal with that, but hopefully we will, because he gets between the lines and makes things happen. That will be a big concern. Obviously, there is other dangers in that United team as well. Obviously, the pace of Daniel James. You've got a couple of others, Mason Greenwood, being bagging. Obviously, you've mentioned Fred as well. He's starting to hit some form this season. I know he's had his critics in the past since he joined Man United, but this season, pretty poor start to the season for them. But he's been one of the better players, and he is really quite good. So he'll be one to watch out for again. So that midfield is worrying me a little bit in general. They've got obviously Scott McTominay, who's just come back from injury as well. It's quite solid in midfield. So that midfield hopefully won't overrun our midfield. With obviously we've mentioned our midfield issues at the moment, so that's the big concern for me. If we can win that midfield battle, which will be really difficult, to be honest.
100%. Just to reiterate the team that Man United fielded last night, they fielded a 4-2-3-1. We were sick to death of that last season, but we've mixed it up a little bit now. Romero in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Eric Bailly, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw in midfield, Fred, Scott McTominay, Juan Mata, Bruno Fernandes, Daniel James, and Igalo coming off the bench, Mason Greenwood, Chong, the young lad, and Jesse Lingard. Now, I was at Manchester United away, I think it's December. It was during that kind of tough run of games in December. At Old Trafford, obviously Doug was in charge. It didn't really seem like we had the confidence in our ability on the ball, being, in possession. It wasn't complete confidence in possession, but we looked lethal on the counter attack. It was just a matter of sticking the ball in the net. We didn't do enough. They rarely looked like they were there for the taking on the counter attack. I would say, obviously, recalling through my memory in terms of the Manchester United sides, this is one of the easiest Manchester United sides to come up against. Albeit a couple of changes from the side last season, but we did come away from that game 4-0 winners during a pretty hot streak of form from ourselves. Now, will we see the same on Sunday? I'm not so sure, obviously, because Manchester United do now seem to have undertaken quite a fair bit of form under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and are in not the driver's seat to be finishing in 5th place, which, of course, subject to what happens with Manchester City and their investigation, it could be a potential European place. Now, with so much at stake, I know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that, Everton on Sunday, that is the big game. Do you think it's going to have it's going to have a big game feel? And that worries me because, as Gary Neville tweeted a couple of days ago, Everton in big games doesn't usually equal success. But do you think that's going to creep into the lads, or do you think they'll have a bit in between the teeth after that Arsenal loss?
It'd probably be a different mentality to that first game of the season against Manchester United. Obviously, under Duncan Ferguson, it was like every game was a cup final. He was absolutely buzzing to be managing Everton, and he got the players right up for it. And he got them running for every ball. Like off the ball, we were really attacking them. Obviously, yeah, you mentioned like on the ball, we were kind of. I think that's Ferguson's management really, but off the ball, we were really putting the tackles in. Obviously, I think Richarlison made the record number of tackles in that game, but I do think it'd be different because obviously Ancelotti is much more relaxed in his approach, and I don't think he'll let the pressure get to the players because he is very calm, and that's his management style, and I think that will come across through the players, so it won't be as angry as a game it was back in December.
But gotta say, Moise Keane's not going to be getting taken off after 30 seconds or whatever it was. But yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, it's whether he comes on as well, Moise Keane as well. That's another that's another talking point, obviously. But no, I think it'll be a very different game. But it's getting to the business end of the season now, so it is a big game in terms of two clubs fighting for European places. With how many games of the season left? What, 11? I think. So
27
obviously,
played.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's getting to the end of the season, so it's going to be it's a fight for Europe, really. Obviously, Gary Neville trying to get in people's heads there, like, but I don't think it'll get to the Everton players. I do think Ancelotti, with his calm management style, he will be able to keep them relaxed and kind of just go into it with taking the positives from Arsenal and just go into it focused. So obviously maybe not as passionate as we were last time, but more professional, hopefully.
Yeah, more strategic and more measured, as it will. But yeah, I do 100%. I agree with what you're saying, and I feel like just that importance of it being the business end of the season when wins matter the most. You know, turning it on when it matters. So I was on Talk Sport the other day, being just to be given my opinion on Everton's European hopes. I think it was in a sort of a very like shortly cut show when they had like, because when I was listening in, there was a guy on from a Burnley supporter before me, so I guess they just had every sort of supporter of each club that's in the race. Asked me a couple of questions. I'm trying to recall who it was. Ben Fletcher, I believe the presenter's name was. He asked me a couple of questions, and he ended on, in one word, can you tell me where you think Everton are going to finish the season? I'm thinking, well, one word. Do you want a number? Do you want like, what do you want me to say? But after thinking about it, I just, to err on the side of optimism, I said 7th. Obviously, off the back of the Arsenal loss, like I said, we're sitting there with Burnley above us, and it does feel a bit like, come on, Everton, string a few wins together and start looking, more towards 6th and 7th. But I don't know, man. In terms of the teams in and around us, like, for example, Wolves coming up from the Championship, and now they're still competing strong in the Europa League and a really sort of healthy outfit. Don't seem to suffer too many injuries. Sheffield United looking really strong. Would keep one eye on them and see if the wheels fall off towards the end. But I don't know. I may even say that 7th might be optimistic, given where we are in the table. Like, we're dependent on other teams slipping up. You know what I mean? We're dependent on other teams losing ground and us capitalising on that. Fingers crossed, as you said, to a degree, we can have our say in that. We can try and take points off them if and when we come up against them. But bearing all this in mind, I'm gonna ask you, Tom, in one word, where do you think I'm gonna finish this season?
Are we saying numbers? Yeah.
Say whatever you want, son.
One word. I'm trying to make it not a number. I'm trying to think of something to make it. To be honest, that's not a one word answer, is it? That's 3 already. I haven't started yet.
See, you can't even give a one word answer, can you? Because it's Everton. Because it's Everton.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. But no, I'll probably go. I was going to say top half, but that's 2 words in itself. Somewhere. Like, genuinely, I don't know, because there's so many teams that are that close, and anything could happen between those teams. Because obviously, you mentioned like Wolves, and they're obviously doing very, very well, but they've got Europe, and they're gonna want to focus on that majorly soon, because they're getting into the later rounds of that competition. They're gonna have to prioritise that, and they're playing the same team as, like, the same players as they are. Obviously, the squad depth's getting a little bit better, but they do tend to stick with the same players. So they might start to suffer towards the end of the season. Obviously, Sheffield United as well. I don't know how long they can keep this madness up. So, like, hopefully we can oust ourselves up there. I didn't realise we were behind Burnley as well. But Yeah, this is quite a long response for a one-word answer, but
that was my point, lad. You can't give a one word answer.
Yeah, I just say just be- better progress of some kind. We'll stick with progress.
Progress,
Yeah.
progress. Okay. Well, fingers crossed Everton can pull it out the hat at the weekend, get a result against an informed Manchester United side, and then look to come up against the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, obviously Norwich, and then Leicester and Tottenham in strong contention for the European places. Now, I haven't spoke to Tom for a while, so it was nice to have a catch up, and hopefully you enjoyed your Everton against Manchester United preview.